My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
This is P.O.C. Just want to be clear, this is not train activity that's going to cause any sort of activity inside of the bathroom. It's not going to cause an earthquake. It's not going to be heard throughout the neighborhood. And that's also the case when aboard Metrolink, which I have been plenty of times, riding from this very train station to Los Angeles, where the entity is engaging in what is monitoring me while you can barely even hear any sort of whisper. This is in possible light activity. All right, these are demons. Metrolink is monitoring. My shadow's flying across the wall multiple times, vacillating backwards. This is impossible light. Moving across this wall over here. At a distance away from the street, you know the pattern of conduct in Ontario is not different in Upland, where the same entity is engaged in vagina monitoring. That's why the entity sounded train activity while inside. It's not about the schedule of the train. It's the amplification. It's the impossible light activity. It's the specific environment. The fake moon was over the IHOP. The people of the state surrounded the IHOP. The people of the state are the same light-slinging gargoyles who are monitoring vagina on behalf of agencies like the Ontario Police, who are then used in order to engage in things like what is discrimination at the facilitating venue of the Ovid Family Community Library. I'm going to prosecute the entity that's gang stalking. That's a product of their criminal surveillance while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct. Driving on that street has nothing to do with that light activity. They are vagina monitors, and that's exactly what I captured. I'm going to prosecute for what has never been prosecuted before. Sexual violence by companies using the train station to engage in surveillance. Even surveillance of genitalia, knowing exactly where you're at. That's why that which is impossible, your headlights vacillating over here when it is moving across, that's not headlights, they're stalking. This is not traffic, it's surveillance. And this is the confirmation by the government. P.O.C. The government is engaged in the perpetual sex offense, keeping your genitalia and the genitalia of your children without any constitutional authority. No warrant, no probable cause, no legitimate interest in what is between your legs either. Doing so in the private space. Doing so while you are out in public, which is still a violation of privacy, in concert with the demons who are maintaining surveillance while they get on the roads and the highways in California. It is surveillance, not traffic. Metrolink is going to be prosecuted as a vagina monitor, a violent sex offender, acting in furtherance, not just for funsies because it's a perverted company run by demons making money off of terrorism, but because they're engaged in conspiracy to murder upon vagina monitoring. The perpetual sex offense. This is P.O.C. That's the city of Upland that just flew over my head. That's the city of Upland gang stalking with Metrolink. That's the city of Upland pacing on the roads and the highways. This is mentally ill behavior. They're pacing. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:23 a.m. It is currently 9 a.m., 9:01 a.m. right now, and I am in Upland, California. I'm in Upland, California, where the Upland Police Department are engaged in criminal summoning with the people of the state. That's light activity that a demon-possessed person and under the law a third party is creating intentionally. While they're engaged in psychopathic behavior, they're actually stalking me, and they're monitoring my device while they keep their back to me and walk outside of the venue where you can see impossible light on the ground right here. Light that is supposed to be some sort of reflection off of the wall. This is the illogical and nonsensical environment where stalking is identified. And you are in this environment for the criminal purpose of engaging in surveillance. And this is occurring at a facilitating venue of the government. It is the Upland City Hall where Bill Velto is exposed as a domestic terrorist. And so are the Upland Police Department that are gang stalking. They're engaged in psychopathic pacing, driving around First Avenue, Euclid Avenue, Arrow, sounding sirens, okay? And at 9 o'clock in the morning, this is the evidence that's recalling the city of Upland going into the city of Ontario, gang stalking in the city of Upland, where this fake sun, you know, where Amazon's doing the same thing, crossing path at what is 2:10 p.m., where this fake sun is still here at the Upland Public Library, and you have Amazon Prime that is gang stalking in the same manner. They just put on a vest and carry a package, and that's how Satan is supposed to be engaging in conduct that you are ignorant about. Satan is going by the name of Upland Police Department, Bill Velto of the Upland City Hall, the Upland City Council, who are engaged in what is a matter of public corruption. They're engaged in vagina monitoring. They're engaged in federal stalking under Title 18, where vagina monitoring is what is inherent to that violent sex offense of federal group stalking and monitoring, and do it with the people of the state that are engaged in surveillance inside of the venue where the business of the people are sex offenders, the people are gang stalkers. And so is the government. And at 9 o'clock in the morning at 537 North Euclid Avenue, the city of Upland is gang stalking in the city of Ontario. That's what I documented Upland police engaging in while they are targeting me specifically. While this fake sun that remains here, as I documented, at 2:09 p.m. and at 4:33 p.m. is not simultaneously over at 9 a.m.
over the bus stop where the Upland police are targeting me and stalking and pursuant to that same criminal pattern of conduct. Moreover, the entities engaging in what is keeping this fake son in conformity to the pattern of conduct right here at the Upland Civic Center, where the people of the state are engaged in psychopathic pacing, where you see the environment. This is the mentally ill that are pacing in and out in relevant position. They are stalking as a population. They're not individuals. And under the law, they're going to be prosecuted for what is the criminal conspiracy to commit murder. And Upland went to Ontario, California to gang stalk me in the same way that you are seeing the criminal cooperation of the city of Upland and the city of Ontario as I'm traveling to and from. And that pattern of conduct is seamless and ceaseless and identical. This is P.O.C. You can even see from the light activity, the shadow of the poles right here, where the entity is engaging in what is tantamount to, I would say, political blasphemy, if you will. While the entity has the flags of the Air Force and the Marines and the Navy and the U.S. Coast Guard, and they're simultaneously gang stalking. And they're engaging in what is unconstitutional, the most un-American conduct at this Veterans Monument site. And the entity is maintaining this ongoing criminal pattern of conduct that is the quintessence of hypocrisy, okay? Providing what is that illusion, and it's highly unintelligent. The entity is maintaining this environment, and they're doing so pursuant to the pattern of conduct that they rely on a population. All the baby-making demons that are gang stalking inside of the Upland Public Library who are going into the bathrooms to engage in surveillance, and it includes this sex offender over here. All right, this is the P.O.C. This is the entity that are full of demons that keep their back to you, and they are under the false impression, and in court they're going to be diagnosed with it, that they keep their back to you, they don't speak to you, and therefore that they're not stalking. That's absurd. All right, but the entity is engaging in this P.O.C., and I want to be clear, this is where the city of Upland is documented as a matter of history, including Bill Velto targeting me, and Bill Velto specifically targeting. He is, in my documentation, stalking under the fake sun, and they like to do so with minor children. And that's what you'll see, the malice of that psychopathic conduct. While they engage in this pattern of conduct, no gang stalking mayor is staying in office. No gang stalking police chief is staying in office. No gang stalking police officer or officers are going to remain in position. And while they challenge the authority of the federal government, that's exactly what is going to happen. Because that's what my documentation has shown, and those in the United States need to pay attention. The domestic enemies that are no longer a secret, as they have witnessed their exposure, they have continuously acted in defiance, and they have shown to be engaging in what is enemy conduct with regard to what is a threat to American citizens, while they contest, and they are contesting by what? More gang stalking conduct, proving themselves to be enemies who will not remain in the positions that they hold that threaten American citizens. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:06 a.m. where the fake sun is still present, as you know, even what I documented the other day at 2:09 p.m. Okay, where sex offenders like this are engaging in surveillance inside of the Upland Public Library, and this fake sun is still sitting over that roof. This is the pattern of conduct. The entity engaging on an ongoing incessant chorus of sirens, that's called criminal summoning by the city of Upland. And it's relevant to the mental illness of those that are going to be removed from the police department, the fire department, and from being EMTs that are stalking using ambulances. The absurdity regarding their psychopathic disorders that are no longer closeted upon being exposed as the demons that they are. It's criminal activity by those that are surrounding. Okay, FedEx, Omnitrans, pacing on Euclid Avenue. This demon that's engaging in what is surveillance with the Upland City Hall, doing so while studying their devices. This is what the demons do. These are the light slinging gargoyles stalked with impossible light, and he is stalking with impossible light while the fake sun remains over me, and the demons are engaged in ongoing incessant means of criminal summoning. I just wanted to capture that video. This is what the entity is doing over and over and over again. You're going to prosecute for terrorism and psychological torture the city, okay, which is the U.S. government's pattern of conduct underway in Upland, California. Literally everything that is occurring in that environment is serving to monitor. Monitoring is the inhumane means of criminal surveillance. It's an exceedingly violent sex offense committed as a population. You're going to prosecute to the full extent of the law. The law that is in existence and laws that shall come into existence in order to serve justice.
And it does include prosecuting Marcelo Blanco and the department that's engaging in what is criminal surveillance, not law enforcement. And it is beyond any coincidence. It's no coincidence. It's a pattern of conduct while they are engaging in the same P.O.C. as the City of Ontario. All right, this is the 5th iteration of criminal summoning under the fake sun. This is an entity that's engaging in what is nothing other than pacing. They're not going anywhere. That's why the sirens aren't going anywhere. This is P.O.C. Remember what they're doing with Amazon Prime in the afternoon at the fake sun. That's the same demons of AMR. The entity's engaging in this, by the way, in the afternoon, and I'll attach that video. It's 9:09 a.m. The entity did the exact same thing while I'm standing in front of the same library in the middle of the afternoon. Criminal summoning is a means of surveillance, and the people of the state are gang stalking, and the City of Ontario is going to be relieved, the state of California, the city of Upland is where I'm located, and you're talking about removing the mentally ill who are gang stalking. These are the demon possessed. Okay, this is the prosecution, the criminalization of this demonic pattern of conduct, which is occurring in plain sight. Okay, Satan doesn't have an age. Satan also doesn't have any limits with regard to the way in which they engage in that criminal pattern of conduct. These old white biddies, old black biddies, old Asian biddies, okay, male, female, they're engaging in criminal activity together. All right, this isn't the sun speaking to the intent behind everything that's happening in that environment. And you're going to pay attention to the method of what is terrorism, utilizing criminal summoning by stalkers that are using emergency vehicles, the circumstances under which LAPD committed murder. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently 9:10 a.m. You see the cloud path over the library, and you see the fake sun. They're all stalking together right now, and these are all cursed wombs. These are demons, cursed wombs that give birth to demons, engaging in what is surveillance in the United States. This is what Satan is doing amongst his minions that are engaging in this monitoring system, which is what the government is engaging in through that population. They are engaged in procreation. They give birth to demons that are monitoring on day one of life, and they're monitoring right now with those that are over and under the age of majority while you're criminalizing criminal surveillance, and the government is flying right over the library. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that runs right into the bathroom. They're violent sex offenders, okay, and they hold the hands of children who are sex offenders. They're demons engaging in terrorism together with their minor children. These are cursed wombs indeed who give birth to demons in the United States, keeping us under surveillance. This is the combination of criminal surveillance by the government and demon possession, demonic activity. And it's gang stalking at Upland Public Library with the entity that's flying right over the venue, monitoring through all the activity creation by the demons under the fake sun. The fake sun that's present at 9:56 a.m. and it stays until the end of the day, where they're all inside pacing all around me. P.O.C. I just want to be clear, this is the one that I documented engaging in the same federal offense, serial stalking, and doing so while the entity, as I documented, was stalking by the Ontario International on that day, acting like they're landing behind Subway over here, and today they're flying at a higher elevation because they're stalking. There's no terminals where they're going to have plane activity, but the entity's doing so in concert with their favorite. They're going to prison. Okay, I already put them on X. I documented them. This is serial stalking. This is an unlawful threat to your life. They're gang stalking and furtherance of murder, and you systematically, repeatedly do so, while moreover you're keeping the evidence under surveillance. Since you like stalking with the Ontario police so much, you're going to prison because that's where those demons are going. This license plate is on the record, and the Ontario International Airport is already being shut down. This is the prosecution of the terrorists who are the people of the state. They're not targeting by themselves. I got all it. But this is how you're going to prosecute the domestic terrorists that are engaging in surveillance. Just sitting there, vagina monitor, listening to everything that I'm saying. And they are also sitting there listening to their sentencing, because they're in my courtroom right now, and this is the proof. You're going to prison. This is P.O.C. Your co-defendant is an idiot that just provided evidence on the record that you're sitting there like an idiot providing to me. You're going to prison while you're sitting in the dark, lurking, monitoring. This is P.O.C. Currently, by the way, 11:14 p.m. in this specific environment. This is, here you go, just so you can see. Here's a shadow on the wall over here in front of me.
And here's my immediate shot right here on the floor. And here's another one right here. This is impossible light activity, not the product of standing under artificial light. King's Tattoos in there monitoring. Their customers are monitoring. That's a federal RICO case against this little business that is advertising on Instagram. They're gang stalking with the people of the state and with the Ontario International Airport, and they're doing so to commit murder. They're going to prison. They're engaged in terrorism, while this one in particular likes to systematically target in concert with the state. Okay, you sit there with light while the demons have a field day, one after another after another. You're going to prison for that. And it's on video. This is P.O.C. It is currently 11:14 p.m. That's Union Pacific. That's monitoring with the Ontario Police. I'm going to prosecute the train system that Union Pacific is abusing. They're not on the train tracks with this ongoing public nuisance. The entity is stalking, just like they are with the airport, stalking with the Ontario Police, who are not coincidentally arriving. They're stalking me at the Ontario Town Square as well. Remember flying in circles over me last night? Flying in circles over me the night before last night, flying in circles over me as I walked from the Stater Brothers back to the square, and this third party is going to prison. Okay, this is ongoing conspicuous surveillance with that agency who uses a whole population to keep me and my vagina under surveillance. They are going to prison. Like I said, even the Ontario Police Department, they're being disbanded. They're blocked from law enforcement. They're going to federal prison. And Mike LORENZ is being prosecuted as a terrorist leader for this very psychopathic behavior. The amplified train activity is speaking to mentally ill demons who are stalking, and that includes those of the Ontario Police. This is the pattern of conduct. This is how the government's criminal stalking. It's the pattern of conduct by the government, and the people of the state share in that. And you are going to prison. This is criminal monitoring committed in furtherance of murder. And when you're stalking with the police, like this video, they're going to prison under all circumstances, regardless of the, in addition to the fact that I have what is an ongoing pattern of stalking me, which is threatening me in furtherance of murdering me with gang stalking police departments that are being disbanded like the Ontario Police. It is currently 11:41 p.m. So let me go ahead and document the threat as I begin walking this direction after I've been remaining over here like I documented. The moment I began walking over here, the Ontario Police, who were already stalking, then engaging conspicuous surveillance by flying over crossing path. Okay, the Ontario Police Department are engaged in criminal surveillance. And so with regard to the exposure of the pattern of conduct, nobody is free to do any of this. All of it's unconstitutional. Literally, the address of the Ontario Police Department is engaging in what is the maintenance of criminal surveillance by virtue of its placement. That's the significance of the government that's monitoring. Moreover, they're doing more than that. They are stalking me from place to place in helicopters and in their police vehicles. And the people of the state are going to prison behind it. This is P.O.C. This is impunity. I don't care if their boyfriend or girlfriend is getting off of work at the gang stalking Stater Brothers establishment, they're going to prison. It's activity creation, and the police and the airport just provided direct evidence against them. Not that I even need it. The airport's being shut down. The Ontario Police are being disbanded. This is P.O.C. The Ontario Police are following me. The people of the state, they're going to prison. This is P.O.C. 11:42 p.m. Seven Sam Queen Frank 912. That's a third-party license stalking with the Ontario International Airport at 507 West Vesta at what is 11:48 p.m. Stalking as I'm now going from place to place. And the third party that's going to prison in the parking lot, they're stalking, engaging conspicuous surveillance at the venue. As I travel that population, as you know, the P.O.C., which is proven through a fake sun that remains over my head as I travel in and everywhere from the beginning to the end of the day, is engaging in what is that stalking from place to place. That's that third party license plate, P.O.C. Just want you to see the people of the state stalking in the path, stalking along Vesta, stalking flying over my head. This is 417 and 407 C Street. This is where the entity is sounding train activity, Union Pacific, which is the guise of train activity. It's not the actual train. This is the entity that is stalking me with noise, stalking in the path with light, as is the case here in the alley. That's why I'm documenting the license plates right here at 221. The people that say you can drive off all you want, all the license plates, this entire neighborhood. When I document and I'm stating they're being prosecuted as co-conspirators of murder, that's exactly what the people that say are being prosecuted for.
Okay, and there is a up to 17-minute video published today regarding license plates and the images of the people of the state. They're all being federally charged as co-conspirators of murder with the You also see stalking me moments ago at the village, and they're stalking now via the people of the state. Then those demons engage in what are conspicuously stalking by flying in circles, flying over my head, flying in the sky space, like they did at Stater Brothers. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in surveillance, monitoring while the train activity sounds, monitoring while the people of the state are pacing, psychopaths pacing all around me. And so are they engaging in aerial surveillance. This is the prosecution of the U.S. government. And the entity is going to be federally prosecuted for implementing psychological torture tactics that don't work. They have been executed by the mentally ill. They are intellectually inferior to me. They are also in every regard inferior to me. And I'm going to prosecute these cockroaches in positions that they're going to be removed from. And I'm going to prosecute the cockroaches who are the people of the state, the vagina monitors who engage in working on behalf of the government. P.O.C. It is currently 11:52 where the people of the state are conspiring the murder of a woman that they're stalking together. And they're doing so while she is documenting every minute of it. And they're still stalking as well, including while they witness themselves being identified and published on the internet. That's an exceedingly violent sex offender and a violent, threatening stalker. That's the people of the state. P.O.C. It is currently 11:52 p.m. I have video captured right here, the fake sun over my head while Southwest Airlines is hovering. The entity's engaged in stalking, and they're doing so at the same address, 221 Fern Avenue. This is P.O.C. They're inside of this venue gang stalking. I will prosecute you. Okay? This is the P.O.C. Here's my shadow here. That's impossible light activity. I'm facing light, all right, but also I'm underneath light and I'm looking at my shadow in front of me. Those are demons that are stalking, including the ones in the sky space. They are doing so while demons engage in psychological torture, stalking in that parking lot with the vehicle lights on, the serial stalker with the Ontario Police, Ontario International Airport. They're going to prison. And it's the entity that's engaging what is tormenting behavior while they are stalking you with light. That's what they're doing as a population under a fake sun. This is the city of Ontario being prosecuted. This is P.O.C. And this is the evidence of an airport stalking. Ontario International Airport is engaged in criminal surveillance, not maintaining an actual airport. That's the ongoing devoted conduct of the entire city. The people of the state are up in the middle of the night. They're up in the at all times, keeping me under surveillance, stalking on the roads and the highways, stalking where they reside, maintaining this pattern of conduct. I'm now at the town square where they are stalking in the path, engaging in what is cartwheels, amplifying plane activity, monitoring me while they're just listening to me breathe. This is relevant to the co-conspirator to murder as an entity that Tracy Bakes and Jason Fields share in. They are going to federal prison. They are going to federal prison with those that are stalking in planes, stalking in helicopters, engaging in stalking like the people of the state, as I'm showing you. They're systematically, repeatedly engaged in what is communicating a threat while they are acting in furtherance of your murder. There are no airports, terminals where you are taking off here, nor when I'm on that side of the square where you're flying across this field, stalking, where I've shown you the fake sun and the fake moon is present. This is P.O.C. This is psychopathic pacing. When the demons engage in blatant stalking, they'll do it again. This is mentally ill behavior. They're taking off. That's Metro 102 apartments. That's gang stalking as well. Now they're flying west to be at the Ontario Village Shopping Center where they're at the same elevation. On video, where that third party is going to prison. These are the mentally ill that are engaging in this criminal system, and it's highly deranged. Highly deranged. That's the entity. There's no terminal. This is what it's laughable, but it's also very serious because this mental illness is psychopathic, and these are psychopaths that commit murder. That's why the Ontario National Airport is stalking to commit murder. Alan D. Wapner, Julia Gu, Jim Bowman, they're all going to be federally prosecuted as terrorists. And the airlines are going to be federally prosecuted. This is both a federal RICO case, and it's also criminal activity, which they provide to me a wealth of it. They just did it again. That's the ongoing act itself of stalking. Remember, they're monitoring. So the stalking conduct is cyclical, repetitious, ongoing. And as I document, they're doing it again, and they're doing it with the people. All of them are in their venues in the apartments. You know that they're molesting with the possible light. You know that they're stalking with light. Those are demons that have the uncanny ability to touch me with light when their vehicle headlights aren't even facing me because they're demons that are stalking. The Ontario International Airport is being shut down, and the gang stalkers that are flying these planes, they're going to be committed and they're going to prison. And this is all speaking for what Mike LORENZ is going to be facing, which is a federal prosecution as a terrorist leader. He's not the only one, because you're talking about Paul Leon, you're talking about Alan D. WAPNER, you're talking about El Qadi, Otif El Qadi. These are demons that are engaged in what are making money, leading, facilitating massive terrorism, which is highly un-American, and it's psychotic. That the entity makes decisions on an ongoing basis. They're mentally ill, and they engaged in what is heightening over Metro 102, which is incriminating Metro 102 apartments, which I've already shown that they're all stalking in that apartment building. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:13 a.m. on what is now March 17, 2026. And the entity has invested millions of dollars in stalking me. And not only is the entity going to federal prison for that, that's informing you what the U.S. government is engaged in, murdering American citizens. P.O.C.